I want to talk about two things to wrap up today. First, I just want to talk about how July 4th is a difficult day for a lot of us, I think. Especially a lot of us who have difficulty recognizing exactly what our country means, what our country is right now, what principles it's currently built on and fighting for. And for me, this has always kind of been a bit of a difficult issue. I grew up with my father, who's not only in the military, was not only a recruiter for a military, not only loves American theming and iconography more than anything, he famously in my family buys shirts from a website called AmericanFlagShirt.com, which is just a website with endless shirts that are the American flag in various ways. I grew up in a household that was that found our country so beloved, but also in a country where my father was very informed on what was going on, particularly in the military, and particularly to people who served. He talked about how the VA did not provide necessary services. He was furious about how the responders to 9/11 were treated when their health issues popped up. He was incredibly angry at don't ask, don't tell, and the ramifications of not letting soldiers be themselves when they are already putting themselves out there. He's talked routinely about how much you give up to be a soldier when it comes to sharing your own perspective, and how much you have to limit yourself in that way. How you give so much of yourself to this country, and how very often you don't get that back. And growing up with that, growing up as a kid, growing up through the financial crisis, growing up through the Tea Party movement and then the MAGA movement, this has always been extremely difficult. What is this country exactly? How do I love this country when it's so hard to define? And for me, I have found ways to love this country. I have found pieces of history, pieces of who we are, principles, things that I truly connect to and love. But it's always been really confusing to me when people don't understand that people have a harder time than I do sometimes. That some people don't get to where I am. That some people have experiences or understandings that make it harder to love this country. For a long time. Because while I think it is incredibly important to speak for what this country is, what it's currently doing, what we see in it. It's also important to realize that we need to build a country that makes everybody feel proud of it. And while I don't think there's a country out there that every single person will be happy with, I do think there's a level to when I hear somebody scared of our country, somebody scared of our country's become, I don't want to convince them they're wrong through argumentation. I want them to live in a country that shows them they're wrong, that treats them better than that. Love for our country is so often depicted as you love it or you don't, and those are the sides. But for me, loving our country is far too complicated to put in two distinct boxes. It is a process. It is built on reflection. It is built on looking at where we're going. It is based on learning more and recommitting, re-educating to what you now know. And moving forward, when it comes to how we love our country, I think it's important to realize that it's always a conversation. Whether it's a conversation between two people who agree or don't agree, what our country is has never been done. It's never been fully defined. We've never finished writing our story. And until we finished writing our story, we're going to need to talk about our story honestly and genuinely. So as somebody who truly loves this country and what it stands for, I am excited to have conversations with those who don't feel that way. That is how we build a country that everybody can love and be excited for.